Hey, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm Margaret Edwartowski, and this is Hey Gurl, the show where we bring on wonderful, amazing, talented women who are comedians, actors, writers, and generally phenomenal. And then we talk a bunch about what we're doing and get to know each other. If we don't, if we do, we just have fun, and then we talk and we laugh, and it's a good time for all, and we hope you enjoy it. I am a playwright, improviser, actor, nonprofit administrator, author, mom, and wife from somewhere near Detroit, and we are coming to you live from the Planet Ant Theater's stream. Obviously, you know that because you found us. And this is my opportunity to hold up women who I think are really cool. So I'm so glad you could be here to see it. Before we get started, I want to introduce to you a person without whom none of this would happen. And it's not hyperbole. I absolutely mean that. She's one of the most phenomenal women involved with Hey Gurl. Please warmly welcome Jessica Cooper.
Hey.
Girl.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. You know, after you said that last show was the first time we hey girled each other, I'm going to do it to you so much now.
I need a prompt. I need a reminder. I do not remember things well, so.
That's my job, and I don't either. So
we'll see how this goes, is what we're really saying.
Okay, great. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I had a good day. You know, I hit Easter Market, did the cool thing, I guess. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was nice. I did get a little socially anxious at certain points where I was like,
was it busy?
It was moderately busy, but like right now, moderately busy is like overwhelmingly busy.
I mean, more than two people, and I'm freaking out.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But
I watched The Sandlot with my kids, so I think you had a cooler day than I did.
I don't know. That sounds pretty awesome.
I don't know. It started and he was like, "This is old timey, isn't it?" And I was like,
"Oh no."
I mean, to you, yeah, it is.
You should have said, "You're killing me, Smalls."
I didn't know the movie that well, so a little. Okay. Sadly, it was after my time. That's how fucking old I am. So
that's okay. That's okay.
Well, I'm glad you got out there and did something amazing and cool.
Yeah, me too.
Did you buy anything good?
There was some nice zucchini, and I got some fancy mushrooms because there is a mushroom guy, and I don't know anything besides regular ones, so I'm on a journey to figure them out.
What kind of mushrooms are they?
King oyster.
Stop.
King oyster.
Do they look weird? Are they all like honeycomb or something?
They're very phallic, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I don't know how to cook them at all.
Well, yeah. I wish you the best with your phallic mushrooms.
Thank you. That's all I was hoping to hear.
That was the goal for the night.
Yes.
Thanks for everything you do for the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Even at the very last minute.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good show.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. So a couple of thoughts before we get started with our guests. I'm going to try to keep this brief because really the theme of these thoughts are a closed mouth gathers no foot. It's about how recently I've decided that I'm going to try to talk less and listen more because I had just yet another of a lifetime of these where you say too much and then you're on the constant rotation, rewind, replay of that dumbass thing that you said that you shouldn't have. And you lose a whole day to it. You just get a stomach ache nonstop. So I don't think it'll shock you to hear that I'm a bit of a talker. I see it happen in my kid, who, poor thing, has been on Zoom school for a year, and I see him just want to talk and connect with people, and I really feel for him because the poor thing is from some really chatty stock. My whole family is super talkative, and then his father, like, twice the talker I am. If anybody knows him, you're breaking your neck nodding. So trying to get a word in at Shea Edwartowski is a Herculean task, to say the least. Thinking of my kid, it reminds me of a project we did in third grade, like a group presentation, and it was about the 5 senses. And my group got the I, and my mom worked happenstance part-time or maybe even full-time at an optometrist. So I was like, I'm the subject matter expert in this. So she gave us all these resources. I even had a little lab coat, and then when it came time for the presentation, I just shoved everybody out of the way and did all the talking. And I remember very, very specifically sitting in the hallway being lectured by the teacher about sharing the stage and like crying in my little lab coat. And obviously, it was a memorable moment, but it couldn't have stuck enough because, I still have this need to fill every silence. It's a well-known thing when we have our executive meetings at work that me and one other outgoing guy are going to be the ones starting up the conversation that otherwise people would literally just sit there and not say anything. Like, what is that? I'm just waiting for the meeting to start. Like, not okay for a talker like me. So the worst filling the silence that I ever did was I had a job cleaning houses. Not a fit. I don't know how I got hired to do that, but one of the women who I cleaned houses for, not the friendliest, and she was there. Oh, I hated it when they were there when you clean the house, and I was really trying to hit it off with her, and I knew she was working at a store that was coming to the area. So, and my friend and I had driven by the place a few days before, so I was like, "Oh, I saw your store, that you're going to be at. Oh, cool!" And so I finally got through to her. And then, I don't know, when like unnecessary lies just kind of fly out of your mouth. And I was like, yeah, I went in, it's really nice. But the place wasn't supposed to open for like a couple of weeks. And now suddenly to her, I'm like this horrible, strange liar. But all I was trying to do was just like get her to talk to me. And, the more I think about moments like that in my life, and that was humiliating. And of course I lost that job for that and other reasons, leaving the air up too high or some stupid shit. But I think about those moments and then I realize the reason I'm doing all this talking is because I want to be liked. I just want to be liked, thought to be funny, entertaining, to please people. But the thing I don't think about is the fact that there's probably people out there who are like, I'd like you a lot more if you shut the fuck up. Yeah, I've never once ever had a moment where I was like, I really wish I had said more. So from now on, I'm going to take the quieter road and see if that makes any less humiliation happen. Well, now that I made that, it's time to have a talk show. Great time for that promise to myself. And we have some really phenomenal guests tonight. And boy, we were already having a great time in the green room before we got started. So I would like to stop talking so much. See what I did there? I'm living up to my promise to myself. And I would like to bring on these amazing women. So to begin with, I love this girl, hometown girl. And I'm straight reading these intros, by the way. I'm not going to lie that I have like decent recall, or I'm just like memorized all of their amazing accomplishments. So our next guest started improv 5 years ago through Planet Ant Training Center. Go Planet Ant. And she's been a farm team member since 2017. She is one of 8 co-hosts of Boxed In with Friends, which is a live streaming show that's on every other Monday at 8 p.m. We'll find out more about that from her. She is also a board member for the Detroit Women of Comedy Festival, which, hooray, is going to be online coming up June 4th and 5th. So please warmly welcome our wonderful guest, Caitlyn Shea.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
You look adorable.
Oh, thank you. So do you.
You have ideas on Post-its behind you? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
They've been there a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Work in progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just working out a running order, moving them around. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not reading them or anything. No, I just, I like the way you organize.
Oh, thank you. I love to organize.
Do you really?
Oh my God. I love it. I love lists. I love organizing.
And we move in together. Because look.
Our bookshelf is color coordinated.
No, it's not. Is it really?
Yeah.
Now that's a bit much for me. I'm not gonna lie.
I did it for, it was like a few of them are, and then a few of them were like, okay, we're just gonna leave them as they are. But
now, when things aren't orderly, do you get anxious about it? Look at me going straight therapy, like 2 questions in.
I do and I don't, because there's like I have a lot of like organized piles, and like my brain like is fine with those. But then like when I'm at work and like things like that, it is very organized and like very a certain way. But like at home, it could be better. But in my head, it makes sense.
Kate Holmes agrees. She says you're the best organizer. Kate from Detroit Women of Comedy Festival and a lot of Planet Ant stuff. So she knows you.
Yeah.
Patty Rooney keeps sending cute emojis. They don't translate to StreamYard. We love your emojis, Patty. Thank you for sending them. Keep them coming. Well, welcome, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good for having you to be here. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Well, let's expand the party, shall we?
Yes.
So this next guest is a writer, a comedy producer, adjunct professor, impressive, and longtime former director of the Talent, Diversity, and Inclusion for the Second City in both the U.S. and Canada. She's facilitated over 200 workshops to corporations, organizations, and students around the globe using improv as a creative tool for social change. Her work has been featured on ABC, NBC, American Theater Magazine, Diversity Journal, and with University of Chicago's TEDx, The Incredible Unknown. We posted we've posted her TEDx speech on our Hey Girl Facebook page. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, check it out. It's really great. She teaches at DePaul University in the Computer Digital Media program. Core faculty was Story Studio Chicago, Chicago Dramatists, and the Second City Film School. Her signature class, Telling Your Truth, has helped students who fear the writing process, and class info can be found at, this is who she is, DionnaGriffin-Irons.com. Please warmly welcome Dionna Griffin-Irons.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. You're my homie. You're my homie.
Oh,
so,
I miss you so much. Love. It's so good to see you.
Yes, likewise.
I have to amend, because I said this when you joined us earlier, like, there's, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of Chicago in that bio, but let's not get it twisted. She is a Detroiter, and we love her very much.
Oh my goodness. And you know, when I was listening to that bio, I'm like, good Lord, can we just say I like to bake cookies and I like to do some gardening?
Well, you know what? I was, full disclosure, when I was getting ready, I was like, oh, well, maybe I can, trim this down. I was like, all this stuff is so cool. I want to read it all, You've done a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I wonder, like, who has inhabited me? What imposter jumped in and did that because they're having a lot of fun or they're having a lot of heartache? And I think it's a bit of both. Oh my!
Do you think you overschedule yourself? Do you take on more than you should?
I used to, but since there is that former title, my life has just gotten sweeter. And I feel like I have more freedom. And I felt like I was running too much. And because I'm a mom too. Yeah. So doing all of that crap and I was going to say the SH word, but.
You can. Okay. Swear away. Like, feel free.
Like doing all that shit.
Yes. I dropped a straight F-bomb a minute ago. Don't worry about it.
And being a mom, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
And Mama, it's just a lot to do. And it's, I can't imagine I just kept making more brain space. And I so related to what you were saying, Margaret, about pleasing and talking and
same.
I was like, oh girl, that is just me.
Well, I mean, we're actors. Of course, we're pleasers and want to be liked. That's like a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself in the middle of talking, knowing that you're talking too much, but you can't stop, and you're like, just shut up, but you can't?
Yes.
It's like running downhill. Yeah.
I feel bad because, we're improvisers. So like my improviser brain kicks in. It's like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to listen. Let me do what I teach. Listen.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Let's bring one more fabulous woman to this conversation, because we're already getting to some great stuff, and I want to have her with us for that. So welcome, Dionna. I am beside myself with excitement that you're here. So thank you for joining us. All right. Our next guest is a hilarious Chicago improviser and actor who is currently living in Los Angeles. I love the wording of that, right? A Chicago improviser who's currently living in Los Angeles. She's a Second City alum, Annoyance member, and IO performer. Her credits include television and film performances in AP Bio, Teachers, and Early Edition, amongst others. And some of her stage performances include Steppenwolf, Remy Bumpo, and No Stakes Theater Project, among many others. Please warmly welcome Rebecca Sohn.
Hey, girl. Hi.
Hey, girl. How are you?
I'm good. I'm real glad to be here. What a fabulous group of women. And just learned that I'm the only non-Detroiter. So I feel, in the last 10 years, I've learned how many Detroit people are kind of in my circle. And it's pretty
like
great. It's a great group. Very, very excited to be among the Detroiters.
Well, if tonight goes well, we may make you an honorary one. I'm just saying.
Yes. Okay.
So don't fuck it up.
Good then. I'll be good. I will be good.
That's interesting you say that. Yeah. We definitely, there were a lot of pretty amazing people during the life of our Second City, and a lot of them went out in the industry. So not like me, I keep the home fires burning, but not everyone can keep it real and stay in Detroit. That's all I'm saying. Just kidding. So welcome, Rebecca.
What's
the latest? How are you?
I'm, I feel great now, but if you were to ask me like 10 minutes before I clicked onto this, I felt like I was going to become one with the couch and just, I don't know. The pandemic, if we can get real for a moment.
Let's do it. The first week's always pandemic. So
I mean, this is, Jesus, what a roller coaster, And I just ran into an old friend on the street. I took a walk. Generally, I take a walk just about every day for an hour and a half to 3 hours. So, roughly 5 miles. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. To maintain sanity. And sometimes that's the only thing I did during the day, because both my husband and I lost our jobs. Our entire industry went away during the pandemic. So March 3rd, I'm sorry, I learned that everything I'd ever done, and I have been doing this for my whole life, literally, just everything wiped out. So it just like to get through a day has been a real trial. And I fully get that everyone had their own, everyone suddenly had their own world of what they now have to deal with. It's tiring. All long story, even longer. It's tiring.
I asked,
And I am very much looking forward to this being over. I did get my vaccine, and next Saturday I am safe.
Nice. I think you bring up a really good point, and I would love to hear perspectives from everybody, because there was that moment early on. I know for Planet Antwise, it was one of those we got to, shut her down because it's not safe. And of course, we all look back with that it'll just be a few weeks. But there is that moment where you go, but there can't be theater. and that, like, swallowing that is stunning. Like, it's just stunning, because any work that you wanted to do would be revolving around the theater somehow, whether it was teaching or directing or acting or, you know, whatever. All of that is gone.
Yeah. And some people manage to find ways to do it and ways to work around it. Like some people, I'm so impressed and amazed and grateful that some people like really found a way to make it work. I was not one of them.
I think it's great that you say that, though. You know what I mean? Like I didn't ever think I would be able to do something like this show. And when all the youngins at Planet Ant like came barreling out with their, you know, watch me play video games shows and whatever, I was like, that's cute for you. You know, I didn't think I was going to adapt to any of it at all. And then I just found somebody who could make it work in jest, and jumped on her coattails. What about you, Dionna? How was that transition to, wow, this world doesn't exist anymore?
Oh, you know, I feel like I have so many ebbs and flows because I was in the second round of furloughs at Second City in May, and by July, girl, I was in a Tony Robbins virtual UPW with 22,000 people online, and he was just like, it's time to pivot. It's time to pivot. I'm like, yes, that's pivot. I mean, I'm a Tony Robbins fan. I've been a Tony Robbins fan since I was, you know, high schooler. And so, you know, there was so much crap going on in the summer. The freaking world was on fire. You know, Black Lives Matters, you know, was happening. Town Hall was happening. You know, so much happening. And so I took myself to a virtual and to a cleanse, and it was exactly what I needed. So I was setting myself up for no matter what happens, if I go back or if I don't go back, Mama's going to be ready.
Yeah.
And so I had to mentally and spiritually, you know, and again, you know, I'm a gal who has a jail experience. So anything you come to me, if it's not jail, I'm okay.
That's fair. Boy, that's a reset for us all.
remember we improvised together, you know. So it's like this is not bad. I mean, I showed up to my furlough meeting, 15-minute meeting, when Andrew was still under the wing, and I had a bottle of vodka, I had a feather bowl on, and I had champagne. And I said, is it a vodka moment or is it a champagne moment? And I said, I'm ready either way. And so that has been my kind of like my setup and perspective, is like, I got to take care of me, because no one else might not have my back.
Talk about perspective, man. Dionna, that's amazing. Like, and if you want to hear more of her amazing story about,
and you want to hear it.
And I'm not just trying to drive traffic to my show's Facebook page, but we did post her TEDx about her experience in jail, and also how improv played into it too. But to say, like, I mean, y'all, it ain't jail.
Hey, girl.
So we're okay.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. It ain't jail. Although I'm not going to lie, there were days where it kind of felt like jail a couple times.
Yeah.
Especially if you got kids. Katie, how about you? That moment where you're like, I'm not going to be on stage.
Yeah, I think it took like the first 2 weeks, it was just like a scary thing. I was in the midst of like a show at Planet Ant happening. Like, it was our closing weekend, the weekend everything shut down. So it was just like a lot of just like, oh, that was a bummer. Like, we worked so hard. Like, and then it was, I was working from home, which I didn't have that option before. So it was an adjustment. But yeah, I just feel like I was in a car driving 100 miles an hour before the pandemic, and I had to hit the brakes and everything came flying forward. So I faced a lot of, was definitely using performing and improv as a way to cope with other things that were going on in my life personally. So like, it was a crazy transformation of like, oh, well,
so then you're like, oh shit, now I have to deal with my skeletons.
So, all these years of being like, I gotta start therapy. And then I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta start therapy.
Honest to God. Yeah. The book that I'm editing now that I wrote is about an improviser, and every time there's feels, she makes jokes and doesn't deal with them. And then I actually went back to edit and I was like, oh my God, I can use my actual therapist's advice about you can actually feel your feels. We talk about write what you know. That's a segue. Let's talk about writing, shall we? So everybody writes here, yes or no? Mm-hmm. Yes. The first question I have is like, what do you write? What do you like to write? And that can be, I know a lot of us cut our teeth in sketch, but there may be other things that you write as well. So Rebecca, what do you like to write?
Well, I've been doing a lot of writing lately. I will say that that's one thing the pandemic has been great for. Although also, like, I had developed a pretty solid writing habit many years ago. I do write my morning pages, have been writing them for like, I don't know, about 10 years. I do not do it by hand. I do it on the computer. I know that's a no-no. I don't give a shit because it works for me.
You're doing them though.
For anybody that's watching that isn't a writer, can you give a little background about that quickly?
Sure.
Like what morning page?
Yeah. So it's from The Artist's Way, which is a wonderful, wonderful book about creativity and keeping it going and digging into it. It's truly a wonderful book. I did a lot of things that she doesn't recommend, but it's because by the time I got to it, I already knew who I was creatively and in a lot of other ways. So I already know what works for me, what doesn't work for me. One of the things is you're supposed to do it in a group to hold you accountable and to share things. Mm-hmm. I knew for myself that if I do it with a group, then I'm going to feel obligated to make sure that I'm being entertaining for the group. Whereas if I just do it for myself and I don't show it to anybody, then I'm not pleasing anybody. I am really doing the work and doing it for myself. So I did it by myself at my own pace. And the morning pages, you're supposed to write every morning, and it really is just stream of consciousness. She recommends highly, strongly that you do it by hand. And there are really excellent scientific reasons to do it by hand. The brain, the physical connection is really important. And I get that. I also knew that I wouldn't do it regularly because I'm on my computer. So I did it on my computer, and I can't possibly know if I didn't get the benefit that she was going for, but I do know that I created an unstoppable writing habit, and I did way more than 3 pages. I usually wrote for an hour every morning and sometimes 2 or 3. So that was great. So all by way of saying, like, I did that for a long time, and then it became a book. So I wrote a book, which has not seen the light of day, and I don't know. It's a first draft, I'm thrilled. I did a first draft. We'll see if a second draft happens. And then during the pandemic, I finally completed my first screenplay, and I did a reading online. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
I always think of it like when we did the cruise ships for Second City, and when we would go and we would be like, oh, I'm going to totally get in shape, or I'm totally going to write a play. And whoever the producer was at the time would be like, yeah, people say that. But the same thing with the pandemic is like, well, now you have time, you slowed down, you can do these things. And some people do stuff and others have been unable to, and both ways are right. But good for you. For getting it done.
I feel
really great.
Proud of it.
You should be.
And the funny thing is, like, I didn't I didn't go to school for this. I mean, I've been a performer and I took classes for it, and I went to Second City and I took classes in many other places, but not college classes. So I didn't know anything about structure, and that's always stopped me. And I just decided that I was not going to let structure stop me. I know how to write scenes. I know I'm good with dialogue. I'll put it together, give it a table read, and then I'll learn something. And then I read a book about structure, and now I'm restructuring it so that it has one.
Yep. Yeah. Every writer group or meeting that I go to, when they talk about craft and, all this fiction stuff, I'm like, I have the exact same experience as you. Katie, tell us about your writing. What are you writing? What's your approach?
Yeah, I was very much into writing when I was in high school, and then, lost my way, was trying to figure things out, and then found improv. So it was improv first, and then writing came after that. And I wrote a show with a group of other women, and I was like, I built that up in my head like I couldn't do it, and I did it. And then, I like to write sketches. I've been writing a lot of character stuff, like, that are just for me to perform because of the pandemic. So I took some writing classes during all of this, one of which I took twice. And it was just pitching weekly to a class, and then whichever characters you felt had like the most traction to write a character. So I wrote 16 characters.
Wow.
And then a few of them I've filmed and put up online. So that's been like my biggest hurdle that I've like gotten over, and working on that. So I'd like to, now that we can start hanging out with people that are vaccinated, start doing more things where I can plug those characters in with other people's characters and things like that.
Well, and that was another, correct me if I'm wrong, one of those cool things that came out of the pandemic, because wasn't that a class that wouldn't have been here?
It was
elsewhere.
It was at the Pack Theater, through the Pack Theater, with John Milheiser, who was on SNL and was teaching it in person, and he started teaching it, and it really worked. I mean, it didn't feel like I was missing anything except for being in a theater where he could direct me with the characters. But it forced me to send the script over, get the notes, take his notes, and be able to mess around with that. So I liked the process a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I see Patty Rooney was giving some props to Rebecca for her screenplay, which is great. And Rebecca's such a good multitasker, is up there typing responses. Way to go, you! Because I didn't even notice they were talking at first. Hey, you, Just Micron, watching us on Twitch. Oh my God, I'm such a mom. I went to watch us on Twitch today, and I was like, I mean, is that right? Is it called Switch or Twitch? Like, I'm 110. Dionna, I know you've been writing. Tell us about.
She's been writing on the wall.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Area.
That's her first draft.
Half pi times radius squared.
Please stop.
If you ever just need to get the area or the perimeter of something, if you need the perimeter, you got to add up all the sides.
That's what my husband's
for.
If
you want the circumference, it's pi times radius.
Oh my God.
Oh, goodness.
I'm so not mathematically inclined. As soon as you start talking in those terms, it's like,
yeah, same.
I tell you, it's like I'm going through it all over again because of my boys. But I've been writing my Telling Your Truth class, curriculum. I've been writing a lot of curriculums over the pandemic. One for my solo class that I teach, and it was working with writers from all different disciplines, playwrights, screenwriters, to solo artists, to novice writers who just wanted to start journaling. And I just wanted, and I do this for myself. It's kind of just getting in touch with that voice and the muse and turning it on and listening to that muse. And so I do a lot of tricks to trick my muse. I have so many different places in my house where I have to write. I have up in a tree house
I saw you post from your treehouse.
Yes,
I was so jealous.
What a dream.
All I'm doing
Look at Rebecca's face.
all I'm doing is like it's so wild, but it's because I'm trying to trick my unconscious brain and my ego to not procrastinate and not write, because it's like I go deep, and I'm sure anybody, when you get into that writing, I go deep. I like to cut wounds. I like to talk about my mess. I like to talk about my hurt. I like to talk about tragedy. I like to talk about my pain. I like to talk about my past boyfriends. My husband's in the other room, but
Hey, girl. Tell us.
Hey, girl. Yes.
Those people that entered in our lives are freaking beautiful characters.
Yeah.
And as improvisers, I mean, it's like, I look at everybody. It's like, oh, that's a character. That's I'm always looking at things as a scene. I can't turn that part of my brain off. So I try to tap into that and catch it. So I have a memoir in progress that finally, since I left the full-time job, I now have more brain space to work on and complete, to have a draft soon.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
Yes. Now, you have different locations.
I know.
Do you find that being in a different spot, or like when you're traveling, like, do you feel like that kind of like sparks something different? Because like for me, if I'm like, it's hard when I'm at home. I live in a studio apartment, and it's like, oh, I'm sitting in the same room. I sleep and I eat, and everything's right here, and it's really hard.
Well, because I wrote from the confines of a jail cell.
Once again, if you're written in jail,
always comes down to that.
I feel like I have to go to jail now.
My privilege of writing from the most obscure and small environment has informed me that you can write anywhere. And I tell you, it's because I try to block out all distraction. And what I tapped into in small spaces allowed me just to focus on that one thing. So just give me a space where I don't have to worry about the laundry. I don't have to worry about cooking. Just give me a clear space where either I look out and I'm energized by, I don't know, the sky, the trees, or whatever. But that's what I need. I need spaces where there's nothing else. There's no bills. So I try to recreate that. And sometimes it's in a freaking closet.
Yeah.
Or by a tree.
Yep.
Or, yeah.
Oh, this is making me think of like all the crazy places that people write. Because you just said by a tree. When I lived in Boston for a while, and I was going through a breakup. It was my first, and it was a very hard one. And I would just like take off with my journal and find a place to sit. Well, I snuck in. I found this park. I thought it was a park. I snuck in through this fence, and I was like, look at this beautiful weeping willow by a pond. This is where I'll sit. I sat and journaled. And I'm like, things keep dropping into the pond. Turns out I was on a golf course, and there were golf balls like being hit against this tree, bouncing off the tree into the pond. I was like, oh, I'm in danger here. I need to leave.
She's on the driving range.
I was on the driving range.
That is wild.
You can, like, you can work anywhere. You just have to decide.
Well, I was worried for a minute because I was worried for a minute because I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary of quitting smoking. Thank you. May 1st.
Wow.
But what I used to do, my writing window is after my kid goes to bed. So like 9 to midnight is usually when I write. And so I would be in the garage year round in Michigan. I had a really nice space heater, and I would make like big thermoses of coffee, and then I would just chain smoke and write. And I wrote everything in the garage. So when I quit, it wasn't even just the how do I write without smoking, but also in a new location. And I was really freaked out, but it was obviously not about that. It worked out fine.
How did you do it?
I just started. I think, the muscle memory of this is the time when I write, just took over. So, but yeah.
Well, I was just going to chime in and say, when I read this or heard this mentor say that she went to this retreat, a real fancy writing retreat, and then she's like, she found out that, what? It's like, it's not like you get a whole bunch more done than what you were doing when you were at home. She went to this scenic place, and I'm like, that's plant some flowers, do whatever. And it's like, make your retreat at home, whatever it needs to be, because it's just a mental thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It so is. And, that mental thing, I've been doing a lot of therapy in the last 8 years. And one of the things like I would think about, and part of it was writing, like I would always dream like, oh, I wish I could go away to a writer's retreat for a month or 2 months or whatever and get this done. And then I'd realize, well, I can't. That's a fact. I cannot do that. So like what part of that could I do here? Like what is the small part of it? And it also had to do with like self-care. Like I want to go on a spa weekend. Okay. I hear that I want to go. I can't do that. I don't have the money, but what could I do here? And finding just those little ways to do what I can do in the moment. And it's weird. Like it takes a little bit of it sucks to realize like, you can't do that. Sorry, honey.
There's also kind of a freedom in that though too, isn't there? Sort of a like letting go of if only, right? Because like I could finish this project if I could go away somewhere and finish it. Like,
yeah,
you got to finish it.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I think it's huge freedom. I mean, I think it's like we find all of the reasons why we can't do something just perfectly exactly the way we want to do it. And if there's one thing improv taught me is play the scene that you're in. Like this is actually what you have. So just use this.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, here, let's turn this into a fun direction. So if you were to write a fanfic, what's something that you're like, oh, I loved that so much, I just want more of it. If I could write it myself, I would. Or if you have written a fanfic. But if there's something, either a show or a book or a movie that just speaks to you, what would it be? Or the thing that you're like, damn, I wish I wrote that. Because I always felt that way about Shrill. I was like, damn, she stole my life. She stole my life.
Yeah. I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound so bad, but I mean, it's a toss between, what is the Margaret Atwood piece?
Handmaid's Tale?
Handmaid's Tale. It's so depressing and so dark, but yet, the uprising of women to overthrow, a system that was oppressive, that I like. And of course, How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I like, I just like, I like mysterious stuff where you got to figure it out, drama.
Well, and that Handmaid's Tale, when it first came out, was like, it was, I had the book, but it was tough to watch at first because of when it came out. It was like, and then we were so beaten down by living in the regime we'd been. I came back around and was able to watch the rest of it. Like, well, they're already living it, so
right.
Let's just watch it. Anybody else have a geekdom that you're like, oh?
I honestly, I feel like mine is a little broader. Like, I look at what's coming out of the brains and hearts and mouths of young people, and specifically women. I really am very focused on female forward anything, absolutely anything. And when I see what these women are saying and doing and putting out into the world, I'm just like, I have stars in my eyes. I just love it. I can't even really name anything. It's just like the whole culture of it. And it's funny because it has also thrown me back to like all the things I didn't get to do because I was a woman coming of age in the 70s and like all of the sexist things that put me down. I'm like, oh, but this is a resurgence. There's something else. Like now I'm so far on the other side of it because now I'm an old woman, but now old is starting to not be old doesn't necessarily mean you no longer have value. And I feel very much like it's this young generation that is giving me life back in a literal way that maybe I'll have value even though I'm over 40. I'm 55.
Girl, like,
Girl, we gotta say it out loud.
This isn't 49. This is not a 20-somethings panel.
Yes. I just, I don't want my career to be done. And I think of myself first as an actor. I've always been a performer since day one. And I don't think that my performance life should be done because I don't look like a young person anymore. I just, I'm not done. So,
right.
So everybody's going to get real sick of me knocking on their door because I'm not going to stop.
Good. Don't. I honestly, that's one of the things that I want to concentrate on a little more is writing, roles for us, writing characters for us. Katie, what's your fanfic if you have one?
I would say more currently with like comedy specifically, Broad City and Pen 15 are like the two shows that like for me, like all the creators are my age, and watching Pen 15 was like almost painful because it was so true to that time in my life that it was like PTSD. Like it was like almost like I had to stop for a minute because I was like, oh, I can't, like, I feel like I'm watching a home video or something. It's terrible. But at the same time, both of those shows really have, they really show what true like women's relationships are like, and like friendships, and how you're like kind of obsessed with each other, and like this romantic-y like love that you have for one another. And like, I don't know, you just you weren't seeing that a lot all the time. Like even I consumed so much TV as a kid, and like I just feel like when I saw those shows, I was just like, fuck, this is like exactly what needs to be out there right now.
I think that vibe that both you and Rebecca were talking about, it's so true, is out there now, and it's that sort of whatever the girl equivalent of bromance is. That's and it's so nice to see, women being good to other women, and also to see a generation of women that weren't taught to like be nice and always like the smile honey kind of thing that we all kind of grew up with. So a little more actualized. So I have one more question and then we'll get on to a special segment. So this one is fun, and we've done it before. What's the biggest laugh you can remember having, like you laughing at the thing that made you laugh the hardest in your life that you can recall? And it can be a real life moment, something you saw in a film or in person.
Well, I'll go for, once again, I don't have a specific answer, but almost every time I'm on stage improvising, I'm terrible because I break so hard at my fellow improvisers. And I will say that for a long time, like I met Rich Sohn, who's now my husband, as an improviser. And once we started dating, I couldn't improvise with him on stage because I could not stop laughing. I couldn't get a word out. And now it's not just him. Like I have funny friends and they make me laugh so damn hard that I can't stop. So
have you had those ones where it's like your whole face explodes, like, and spit flies out and stuff?
Yes.
Ooh. I had one of those. Oh, hey, girl. I like how hey, girls become amen for you. I want to do that. Hey, girl.
I used to greet my friends like that.
When I was a greenhorn, the hazing was the whole cast trying to get me to break, and I was too stubborn, and I made it through like 7/8 of the show, and there was like this EBO at the end, and I'm sure it was something Larry Joe Campbell did. I can't remember. But it was like Rico Bruce Wade and Larry Joe Campbell and Josh Funk and Grant Krause and like this group of guys, like, and it was one of those ones where everybody does a line, and then by the time it got to somebody, I think it was Josh, did something, and I just like Sienna, Katie, you got any memorable laughs?
I feel like I'm with Rebecca on that. Like, it's more of a feeling. I went to a private Catholic school. And so I always refer to it as like a church laugh, where you just
forbidden one.
Yeah. Like it's always my sister's. Like, there was a wedding we went to a couple years ago, and we were all at the table together, and it was just like, we were all starving. It was just like, we were just not in a
loopy.
Good place. Yeah, just loopy. And I was just like, I get like the, can't breathe. I can't do anything. I'm just crying, laughing, like silently, like nothing. I'm like unconsolable. Like everything makes me laugh and I can't stop. But it would happen to me all the time in church. I'd get in trouble from my teachers because I'd be like next to my best friend. And it was, but I love that feeling.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so
we
good.
do that in meetings too. My staff and I just.
It happened to me in a meeting last weekend, and it hasn't happened in a while, but it was on a Zoom call, and I had to keep going like this and like get myself out of the frame because I was like, could not proceed with the meeting.
Well, we did this training at work, and they break it down into these letters, and one of them is for dominance, and it's D. And everybody, and I'm a comedian, you guys, they kept going, well, I'm really high in D, and I got a lot of D, and I just really need to watch my D because my D is, I'm like, the whole time I'm like, this should be illegal.
Yes. That's just bit city.
Bit town. And they're all like, normal, not childish people. So they're like, yeah, your D is really big.
Such a big D.
So much D. Dionna, did you have any laughs to share?
Mine is parenthood. Ever since my oldest, my husband and I are just having too many moments. We laugh just about every day. But when you said that question, the first thing was changing the diaper when being squirted.
Yes.
It happened to me this morning. I got my baby niece. I was changing her diaper. She's only a month old. And I was in tears. And I was like, this is poop. This shouldn't be funny. But this
it sent, I tell you, that first one, it sent my husband running to the shower, and he closed the shower curtain. I ran out. We just left the baby on the table, and we ran out because it was volatile. It was so far-reaching. It was explosive.
Now, for future mothers of sons, they do have something called pee-pee teepees.
Yes. And
you put this little teepee on the pee-pee so you don't get pee-peed on. Lauren Dupre is feeling it. She's got a baby at home. Hey, Lauren. So believe it or not, it is time for our awards segment of the show because we are already nearing the end of our time together. I'm crushed. So it is time for the Hey Girl Ally Awards. We have some wonderful people to honor tonight. The Ally Awards were created so that wonderful, accomplished women can give shout outs to people that they feel helped them to get where they are, or are great influences in their lives, or are just generally central to who they are as a person. So, Dionna, would you start us off and give out your Ally Award?
Yes. My Ally Award goes to Kat O'Brien.
Kat O'Brien.
She is a screenwriter, filmmaker extraordinaire. She's a teacher, and we've only known each other probably less than 5 years. And but she was so, this past year with the pandemic, she kept sending me texts and reaching out to me, and just with the changes and you just never know where these people are going to come from, but someone always reaches out and it's like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? How are you? What can I do? I am here for you. And just that, you know, a mission of, can I help you? Can I give you anything? Can I do such and such? You know, it was just immense. It was just right timing, right everything. And so I'm just so grateful of having her as a friend.
Congratulations, Kat O'Brien, for your Ally Award. It's funny you mentioned that. I think, you know, we get so caught up and people say, oh, people's true colors have come out during the pandemic. But whenever we do these awards, I'm telling you, it's not just on the negative end. It's also on the positive. People who really care about me, learning the people who really are there to support me. So that's a great story. Rebecca, let's give out your award.
So when you asked this, I was like, oh my God, there's no kidding 30 to 40 women on this list.
That's
like
awesome.
Not an exaggeration. I feel like it's the group of Chicago improvisers, and now it's expanded out to LA improvisers because I'm meeting some of those women too. Like I just feel like I have been lifted up. However, because you want someone specific,
because I forced you,
I narrowed it down to 2 people.
Okay.
And one of them has been my dear friend for ages, Jean Villapeak. And she helps me in so many different ways, like as a friend, emotionally supportive, but career-wise too. Like it's out here in the wilderness of LA, like people are not as forthcoming about the business, and it's hard to get real information. She does not pull any punches. She tells me exactly what I need to know. And, you know, she just is a wonderful help. So shout out to my dear friend, Jean Villapeak. And
congratulations, Jean.
Yeah. And the other one is Amanda Blake Davis, who has since become a really dear friend. But she is one of those people who has like been tapping on my little window for ages. And I was like, I don't know you. We never improvised together. Like, I don't know you. But she's been nothing but kind, nothing but like just reaches out. And during the pandemic, she did something and I jumped on this. And I just was like, I need to learn from this woman. It was pretty, you know, it was the pandemic. And she decided that for Halloween, all of her friends who had kids, like these kids couldn't go out. And she said, well, I'm doing a reverse trick or treat. I'm going to show up to your door and throw candy at your kids. And I was like, what? Can I? So and it ended up being like, I don't know, 5 cars full of adults. And we drove around to anybody who invited us, not just randomly. And their kids would dress up. They'd come out on the lawn. We'd say, we're going to be there in 5 minutes. We'd socially distance and we'd throw candy at them. And it just gave me life. And ABD comes up with stuff like that all the time. Like her way of keeping her sanity is to reach out and be helpful. And I look at her as like an example of how to be that kind of person. The second thing she makes artwork, and she posted online, hey, if you have a loved one that you haven't seen in a while, send me a picture. I'd like to make artwork about them and send it to them in your honor for free. So ABD made some beautiful artwork of my mother, who was in a rehab facility during COVID and I couldn't see her. She sent this beautiful thing. Like, so ABD is just, I mean, these are 2 goddesses right here. Wow. And I have a third one. I just want to
Not
point
pictured.
everyone right now to Dionna Griffin-Irons, because this woman has been an ally as long as I've been in Chicago. This woman has done so much outreach, so much lifting up of people, that we all need to honor this woman because she is a treasure.
She is pictured.
Oh,
She is pictured here.
you're so sweet. Thank
Congratulations, Deanna, Jean, and Amanda for your Ally Award. All right, Katie, what you got?
Okay, well, like I said, I didn't think I was a writer. I was, a young improviser. I had her as a teacher. And then she approached me and was like, hey, I have this idea for a show. I'm going to ask you and a couple other women. I want to write a show that is all focused on women. And we wrote a show and put it up. It was the first scripted show I was ever in and wrote. So Lauren Vickers is my ally award. I had her as a teacher, and I think every show I've been in, she's not there to see me, but she's at the shows. And honestly, everywhere we are together, always a solid dance floor partner. Her and Scott and Steve and I are like, it just seems like that we're always the ones on the dance floor.
She wrote a show called Danceicle, and I'm sorry that you guys didn't get to see it because it was fucking amazing.
I didn't get to see it, and I'm very sad when I found out about that. I was like, wow.
Congratulations, Lauren Vickers, for your Ally Award. She was not only a guest on the show, but she now runs the home team at Planet Ant. And she was also one of the people I was thinking of the person who's smart and doesn't talk in the meeting. She takes it all in. She's a good listener.
She is a good listener.
I don't normally do this. Really quickly before we wrap up, I actually have an Ally Award to give out tonight. I have been writing romance novels for the last few years. That's been my bit of writing. And I applied for a mentorship program with the Romance Writers of America, which I am a member of, and I was selected. And in this program, the mentor selects you, which is a really special feeling. And this woman not only chose me, but she has been such an amazing influence on me and has been available to me. I also have been reading her writing, which has inspired me to write more. And also she just really has been so giving of her time and her insight, and all of her advice is just so phenomenal. So I would like to give an award to my mentor, Annika Martin. There she is. Thank you, Annika. If you want to pick up one of her books, if you enjoy romance, I highly recommend it. Contemporary romance. It is now time to plug our stuff. If you have some stuff, before we wrap up. So, Katie, you got anything you're up to? I know you got a show.
Yeah, Box In with Friends every other Monday. We are live. You can follow us at friends_Detroit on Instagram. And we have a Facebook page. And the next show will be the first week of May. I won't be on it, that episode in particular, but yeah.
But they'll press on through tears.
They will. Yes, yep. They will. Yeah. And the Detroit Women of Comedy Festival, it's virtual June 4th and 5th. Submissions are still open till May 4th. So get on that. Submit your sketches, your live streams, your podcasts, stand up.
Animated, humorous shorts.
Yeah, do it.
Puppetry.
Yeah.
Whatever you've got. Cool. Well, I know I'll definitely be tuning in, and I think I might be involved too. So I'm excited about that. A little bit. Yeah. Rebecca, have you got anything you want to share?
I am not doing a ton right now. I'm on Instagram at Bexsohn. That's BEXSOHN. I'm popping up in podcasts and live stream shows here and there, sort of willy-nilly. And to be real fair, I'm not great at publicizing them.
Same.
So,
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of doing more writing and just taking care of life.
That's what we got to do right now.
But
and you wrote a screenplay. I mean, it's
did, yeah.
Not for nothing.
I do have one thing. So a show I was performing in Chicago. It's called my solo show of all duets, and I play a character called Shirley LeMay.
Oh yeah.
It looks like she might have a second life out here, and we've been doing stuff on the Twitch channel Chicago for Real. So look for Chicago for Real. TJ Shanoff.
I was just gonna say, wasn't that TJ?
Yep, TJ, and he's got his own show there. So he's been having Shirley show up as a guest, and we re-showed it online.
Oh, that's
so
fantastic.
That might happen.
I don't know if you saw it in the crawl, but we have dubbed you an honorary Detroiter. Tonight's the night.
Oh my God. You have no idea. This is really special for me.
So if anybody says you're not from Detroit, you send them my way because I got your back.
I'm going to make my own t-shirt that says I'm an honorary Detroiter.
Oh, there's tons of Detroit stuff. And we'll send you some Coney dogs or something. But she remarked before the broadcast that she was the only non-Detroiter in the thing. And I think you earned it. I really do. Tonight's the night. All right, Dionna, plug away.
Just telling you your truth. Telling your truth. My class, you can find it at DionnaGriffinIrons.com. Next month, I think I'm going to be on one of my girlfriends from Detroit, Tam White, her show Hip Hop.
Yeah, my Tam. So
oh, you're going to be on that? Is it the Hip Hop Improv?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Very fun. Very fun.
Okay.
Oh, I'll definitely have to tune in. Well, thank you. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Dionna. Thank you, Rebecca. You're amazing women, and I'm so honored to have you. Thank you to Jess, and thank you to all of you who watched. Next month, we have an amazing panel, and I've already set it up because I'm like ahead of the game. So tune in, and we will see Christina Anthony, Aurora Brown, and Clayling Woods. It's going to be a great night, so we'll see you in a month. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.